Alright, so that's root 2, the Dorian. This is now where the fret nut is. We make pretend that could be that could be your finger, but if it's the fret nut or a capo, you cannot access these notes here. Okay, you cannot access these notes here if it's a capo or or the end of the guitar. If it's the end of the guitar, if I have my guitar in C, that C would be the second of B flat. If it's your guitar, it's in E, that E would be the second of the key of D. Okay, I can play them both because I can play the E up here a little bit. So if looking at it, if it's the 2, all right, here's the E. It'd be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, R, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Warped. Okay, so I had to warp that one. Notice the top string action here. On the perfect pattern, everything is a fourth below the other member. Okay? Now, granted, sometimes a fourth may or may not. Let's see what happens here. From, let's say, okay, from 1 to 4, C to F, we've got essentially a perfect fourth. These are pretty much countable fourths, okay? So for some reason it's just easy for me to see what a fourth is. I'm not sure exactly how many half steps it is, but I believe it's the same amount of half steps. So we got C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say from F. F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, actually in the Lydian mode, the fourth is actually 6 half steps away. Okay. Alright. Actually, a perfect fourth is 6 half steps all the way up the line. I just checked it out. So, everything in the 7L parts is a perfect fourth. So that would be from 2 to 5 is 6 half steps. And we can look at that by looking at the other diagram. Whoops. The big long keyboard, and we can count it right there. From 2 to 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But counting the first post in the fence, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So from any one of these numbers, it's 6 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a perfect fourth is actually 6 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now there's a problem. Wait a minute. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It looks like the Locrian is 7 half steps. Yeah, I was wrong. The Locrian is 7 half steps. So when we talk about doing a perfect fourth, it has to be within that scale. Okay, it's pretty much safer to say that it's going to be within that scale. Alright? Otherwise, the Locrian the perfect fourth for the Locrian isn't a perfect fourth. Excuse me. The Locrian is not a perfect fourth. That's why you won't see a number above it, because the strings are a perfect 4. And they are 6 half steps apart. So we nailed that down. That's why you see the lone 4 there, because that's actually you know, that would go to the B flat if it was if it was F. Okay, the fourth, if it's A, it would go to the D. okay, and the D in the key of A. All right, it was the fourth in the key of E. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that would be A, and perfect fourth above it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It would be the D. Now I don't know why that isn't so. Okay, in the key of A, all right, this would be A in the key of E rather. If this is the fourth A, a perfect fourth would go to D. Believe it or not, D natural is not in the key of E. Okay, because E has 4 sharps and D is sharp is one of them. So again, it holds for E. I had to check that out. It took me a minute on pause to do that. I guess I'm learning how to use pause today. Hopefully it'll normalize as we go to future lessons. So let's look at, we've got the Ionian, which is an imaginary fret nut there. We've got the Dorian, an imaginary fret nut there, and say we've got the Phrygian with an imaginary fret nut here. Okay, we're going to be doing a lot of talking, I guess. Now, moving on to the 4, we're going to have an imaginary fret nut there. The 5, an imaginary fret nut there. And that's where the fret nut goes, but you press the 5 down, right? 6, which is the Aeolian, imaginary fret nut there. And the 7 up here, which is the Locrian, imaginary fret nut there. And I'm glad we did bring this chart back into the lessons, because it was about 8 charts back. Now, we've got a lot of notes to the right and a lot of notes to the left. Okay? What's up with that? What's up with that? With the Ionian, we start on the root and we're going to go up and follow a pattern. Now there's 2 patterns. Okay? The pattern that, this is where it gets a little tricky. The pattern that, see, now we have our little pattern markers. If you could just ignore them for a second, all right, and we've got 2 patterns that we can follow. Just ignore the pattern markers for a second. I'll try to get them off the charts like that. Okay. There's going to be the long patterns, and there's going to be the short patterns. Okay? Remember, the long pattern, we don't have to start on the 5. That's the most important thing to remember about the patterns. You can start anywhere. And then you have these names here. Okay? And why do they cut off? I don't know. I don't know why they're cut off. They just are. I think because I'm zoomed in. There you go. But now we got these guys in our way. Okay. So if we started on the 5, we're going to get that Mixolydian dominant 5th. Okay, or in the key of E, it would be the B. It's a little awkward to play from way over here. And then the G would be, okay, that would be the 7th, the dominant 7th. Ionian, we start from the root and play the pattern up. Lydian, if we want to do the Lydian 4th. Now remember, that's not like a rock and roll 4th, okay? So if you're on the root thing, say the root is F. My F's right in the middle of the keyboard here. This would be about where your A is. Alright? You know, rock and roll, people tend to play, I've heard them